Alright, this seems like a good time to do a farm tour. Welcome to Madre Divina. It's a bit messy here in the workshop, but that's okay. That's little Sanita over there. Sweet baby tried to run into the road, so now she's tied up for the evening. So right behind me is a rather new construction and just some really fun metal art that I've been playing with. It's tough to see and kind of just better off explaining maybe another episode. But this is one that I'm going to be taking down soon and is worth talking about. This is the end of my bamboo era. Oh my god, building with bamboo. Look, if you live in North America and you can get access to bamboo, god, go crazy. If you can manage termites and can take some of the practices that we've learned here in the jungle and just like to work with thatch in places that don't deal with extreme heavy downpour, albeit snow would be just as bad. But yeah, bamboo is it's delightful, but it's just it's difficult. It's entirely difficult. This was a construction that I was quite excited about because at the time, this isn't really becoming a farm tour. That's all right. Let's just dive into it. It's fine. At the time, I was so adamantly against concrete. I didn't want to work with concrete, and I thought even the act of building foundations with concrete was just like too permanent for me. So I did a fun thing here where I used rocks to mount the bamboo. So within these rocks there are 1/2-inch holes drilled through with a jackhammer drill. Yeah, using threaded steel rods, I was able to mount bamboo to them, and it worked out really well for 3 years. 2 years, because a tropical storm came and a hurricane wrecked my plans. But that's all right. Let's talk about the farm, actually. So first thing, here I've got a little nursery that's challenged in the dry season. But that's all right. As soon as the rains start and we start collecting seeds and we get back into action, everything will pick right back up. Here, starting on the left side, is the beginning of... I started planting in rows. All right. This property here is about 5 acres, and wow. I mean, look, when you're starting out and you're ambitious and you have all this energy and you want to plant everything and you do the scatter planting, it only works out for so long. The reality is you lose stuff, and in the jungle, I've mentioned this before and I'm going to keep mentioning it, you lose stuff. And even when you mark it, you put a stake, the stake rots, and then you have nothing left in a few weeks, and then weeds overgrow, and then it's all gone, and then somebody comes in, they're like, wow, you should really chopear ese monte, and then you say, okay, chopear la monte, and then you come back and your trees are gone. So yeah, it happens. I mean, this is a nice example here. So underneath this is an oregano, and I mean, it's fine. This oregano is pretty prolific, but these vines, they're nitrogen fixing too. They make little bean pods, and so I wish it was just balanced, and I guess it'll get there, but it's not there yet. I don't know what to call this style of planting. It's not... I've subscribed to subtropics and agroforestry quite a bit because it's a blend of combination of trees, and the spacing is outrageous. Like, they pack everything really tight and we think in layers. So a lot of the system is that, right? But not as heavily dense, and I don't use a lot of support species. There's several nitrogen fixers and ground cover, which is amazing. Not really working on the vine layer just yet because everything is the way it is. I mean, it's still young, but using cacao in between a lot of these trees. So I'm being a bit more intentional than subtropics suggests, right? Because you could just sporadically throw seeds everywhere, but you want a little bit of, I don't know, just you want to know what I don't know, there's layers to this, right? And I have my philosophy now, my principles. I can't really care to get into it now, but it involves that sporadic planting, but also dedicating space to the things that you want. Like here I've got this yellow mangosteen right in between some sana, nitrogen fixing. There's an insulina plant. There's a cacao that's just 3 years old, 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Right, then there's bananas that are interplaced, but here's a fun thing about banana. I mean, they're amazing, right? And they do create excellent biomass, and they're so great for these subtropic rows. But they also get really big and overpowering. And what you'll see is, like, I've got some cacao. These are planted at the same time, right? But they've got a banana right behind them, as the guy that we just passed. But their leaves are constantly being battered by these falling branches. Like, as soon as this one hangs and it's draping over the cacao, like this, I'm constantly coming in and kind of pulling them off. So alternatively, what I want with bananas is that just the right amount of ground cover and that shade, but not this overwhelming thing. So I'm really stoked about these short bananas. This is super cool. I mean, I want to show you, like, this is the full size of this short banana. And it's gonna make a banana bushel, and it's gonna touch the ground because it's so, prolific in that. So yeah, just waiting for these to sprout back up, to make some new pups, and then I can make those transfers and send those pups basically all throughout here. And wow, just so many other, again, really intentional planting. Like, I buy these seeds, or I eat these delicious fruits for rare or just tropical varieties that I've never delighted in before, and these happen. So this is like a little baby guy. I don't remember the name of the fruit. It was delicious, but yeah, that tree right there, that's 3 years old. I mean, that's saying quite a bit if that's 3 years old. So yeah, these things, they take time, right? And in a syntropic system, if I was to do it the sporadic way that I'd been doing in the past, you prioritize certain things, or you want the system to evolve so fast that you lose sight of the delightful, like, cute little stuff. And this is my zone 1, so I want those fun, rare tropicals that when guests come, I can give them something extraordinary. More to that effect, like some orange jackfruits. Below here, again, guys, this is dry season. We are, Godspeed. Like, the next weeks, there should be some intense rain coming, I really hope. But below this, I use a lot of ground cover. It's called grama de mani. I forget what that is, but it's a peanut, but it's not a peanut plant. And it makes a really nice, solid ground cover, and it kind of just clouds everything else out, which is important. Good example, like, the banana is amazing, and thank you for your service, but let the baby breathe. Coming around here, I'm trying to be a bit more cautious of my step, because yesterday this little snake came out. I think it was a garden snake. I don't know if I stepped on his tail. I don't think I did. But he gave my pinky toe a little nibble, and it was a bit concerning. Because I walk around in flops or barefoot, one with nature and all. Wow. Right here behind me is a moringa that I have so many of. I love them. I love them so much. These trees, they grow so fast, but they're so, their wood isn't that strong. And so when the wind comes and curves them, they'll fall over. And that's just kind of what it is. The branches will break off, or they'll grow curved and do some crooked stuff, which is, it's fine, it's what it is. I guess since we're here, this has been a construction that I've been doing. It's complete now, but it's a cabin. This is not complete. This wall needs to meet the edge, but there needs to be a toilet there first. This is an outdoor bathroom. We're gonna do a quick tour. I'm not gonna actually go through this too much today, but yeah, just a delightful, again, more metal art. Inside, I've got a big hot tub that I was hoping had drained. So I fill this thing up and then just run that water to the plants to irrigate. Because why not? The water comes from a spring anyway, so it's good to circulate this and keep everything in motion. Right behind here, I've talked about that cashew behind me. This is a favorite in the food forest. I love the look of the cinnamon tree. I wish this video would give it its due justice, but this guy is like 3-4 years old and he's doing amazing. You might have noticed all the pink bougainvillea. Yeah, the paper flower. It's quite the hedge, which I was here when I purchased the land, but I'm actually really grateful that it's here because my neighbors, they have this easement, so there's a lot of traffic going on, and then cows, and so this just really gives this bright pink boundary, right? So that works out really well. Again, more of these amazing cacao, the remnants of trees that didn't make it, and space for more unique, beautiful species. This is now what begins to kind of look like the syntropic system, but also not as heavy on the mid-tree in terms of my management. So for the past few years, I would stay here in the dry season because that's when it's fun and lively, and then the dry season is also our high season. And then afterwards, I'd take off and go travel, which means sticking around for June, July, which is our intense planting months, marking everything heavily, leaving instructions with my main guys, and then managing from away, just making sure that they're being paid, and then I'm getting regular images and making sure that everything is kind of consistent. What that means is that, well, the priority is just maintaining the things that are the priority, like that are marked and that we know about. Mulberries. People. This mulberry bush, hold on, a little bit better? Kinda. Some good lighting, but I don't know how much we're gonna see until post-production. This mulberry bush started off with a branch like this. It's a bush because I want to keep it low. In fact, this next year, seeing how well it's done in its second year, I'm going to be heavily propagating this guy. What do we see here? It's nice to go around and, as you're eating, do a little bit of management. But yeah, I mean, this place will change dramatically as soon as those rains come. It's totally okay that I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, this season I want to take a bigger interest in sticking around for this project, because I'm often, even when I'm traveling, supporting other projects, or working in those heavy wet season months. But we got to give love here. I know Madre Divina is going to be just fine. This is my baby, my interest. This is where I'm going to be raising my children, and this is my nursery. So everything is irrigated, it's taken care of. I get to build beautiful constructions like that. And then even working on some interesting concepts for outdoor kitchens. I did this really cool ferro cement bathroom that I want to talk about in a new project, in a new video. Ferro cement is cool. It's becoming, this is coming from someone who's like radically shifted from natural, sustainable, or regenerative materials to now just concrete and steel. You know what else is regenerative and sustainable? My energy, which I prioritize. And in a system where I need to baby the whole thing and come back constantly, it's not going to be ideal. So we call this a farm tour, but it's not. I mean, I could go on about these different trees. There's a chestnut there. Again, tons of, not chestnut. It's a nut tree. Chestnuts are in the north. This has another one. Mulbar chestnut, I think. Anyway, between these, the black sapote, wow, the egg fruit, the yellow sapote. There's papayas, the different varieties of banana. I mean, I gotta say, I have like 6 different varieties of banana. And behind me here, plantain field, because they still provide ground cover. It's a revenue stream for my workers. And, I use that biomass heavily now. As everything in the driest months, it gets just covered in, biomass. But, I mean, what else? Yeah, the different jackfruits. There are these like sour gumdrop fruits, a lot of, they're called nispero, what is it? It's a loquat. All these have unique names that are synonymous to what we know in North America, but then they're not. But also here are tons of mangoes. So when I arrived in this property, it came with a bunch of mango trees, which I'm so grateful for, but they're called the mango rosa. And there's like, everybody has it. It's the one kind of mango that everybody loves. But I went out and found just some of my favorite mangoes and different varieties, and was very intentional about cultivating those, and then taking those seeds and planting them around. Wow, the citrus. So I didn't show up front, but this place already came with a citrus field. So these are sour oranges. For all my people from New Mexico, the Frontier orange juice is made with those oranges, and I love them. They're so amazing. And I've been expanding the citrus. Like, I really love grapefruit. So working on the grapefruits, really grateful this land came with a limon americano, the yellow lemon. Wow, months of December to March, I am like, the fishes, the lemon water, everything. I'm exhausting all of the lemon experience that I can. Bamboo, I still love bamboo, but for us in the tropics, I think it's better as a interior plant. I will not use bamboo structurally ever again. I'm very challenged by just witnessing it rot so quickly. So, being a bit more smart about that. Like, how are we going to use bamboo? This is mame sapote. One of my favorites. It's a peach. It's like a peach. It's the closest thing we got to peaches here in Central America. Wow, the coconuts. So we walked past like 3 of them already, and there's 2 in the front that are already mature and giving. Coconuts are so great. There's so many amazing resources, but they're also incredibly dangerous. And since we're thinking for longevity, if you put a coconut near your walking paths or where you're going to be for the most part, then when those coconuts fall, they can pose a serious danger. So we have to be smart. And for me, I put my coconuts on the edges, so boundary coconuts all the way. Boundary planting, if you've been through my process, if you've been through the website, boundary planting is a big deal, and I emphasize this. So another thing that you might not have noticed or I haven't pointed out is that along this entire boundary, besides the bougainvillea, there are native hardwood trees that I have planted strategically. A little snake. These are native hardwood trees, and what they're doing is, again, they're creating a natural wall or just a solid perimeter. They act as windbreaks and privacy, and eventually I can harvest them for wood. So there's just a lot that can be done. The mango season is upon us. There are tons of mangoes, but these ones have not ripened yet. I usually love looking on the ground right after. So now we've entered the jackfruit and another cacao row on this row. It's more like this is the northeast side of the property, so we get some serious heavy winds, and I'm trying to create some more ground cover and also just managing this part of the property that can be a bit I don't know what to call it. This site is it's amazing, but other than 2 temple spaces that are in construction or in process, there's not much else going on here. So just giving it its priority in that sense and growing it out, right? I want more shade. I want some serious food production happening on this side. I'm also planting my own mangoes alongside these established mangoes and planting more coconuts. I didn't mention this, but the coconuts that I planted on this side, they're called coco limeños. I fucking love these. These are the 1 liter coconut. That's not what limeño means. It's just the name of the coconut that they've given it here. But these guys make, not kidding, just like these beasts of coconuts. And they are delicious and like so full-bodied. And then they also produce a whole lot. The cows are trying to say something. Wow. Yeah, I mean, just walking through, I'm really excited for the wet season to start. Let's see. Yeah, we can start to see that. There is just a lot of dryness. A lot of these trees are really solely alive because of irrigation, and that's a bummer. So this part of the land, we're kind of getting closer to the natural spring that exists on this property. There's 2 of them. It's a big reason why I bought this place. Obviously, water is important. I believe that drinking fresh spring water is just arguably more important than a lot of the food we eat. Having high quality water, like you're 70% water. Our bodies will metabolize fats inside of us and make its own clean water if it needs to. So drinking the healthiest, freshest spring water, it does a lot for us. And so I'm grateful for that, and it will become a priority. Wow, there's some wonderful birds that come through here as well. A big reason I call this Madre Divina is because I've planted a lot of medicinal and sacred trees. Some beautifully powerful forces of the Amazon, and it's nice to come up and check on them, though they don't need me. They're doing just fine. So right now we are overloaded by cows. Come on, let's take a look. So we walked through here before. This is the soursop patch. There's more mangoes, more coconuts. These are some 1-year cashews, 1 year old. I did these from seed. I made that cashew video. There might even be a cashew at the top. This guy is 1 year old and he's twice my height. I mean, maybe it's location. You know, there's another one that had a bit more shade and is shorter, but just remarkable. I mean, this one, same thing. He's only a year old. Right? These two had some plantains that crept up and grew beside them, so they're just a bit shorter, which is fine. And this is the natural reserve part of the land, and lots of cows. Let's see if we can take a look. No! Cows they're amazing and beautiful, and this is part of nature. But this reserve, as soon as the wet season starts and it starts raining, then the rain in combination with their footsteps creates these little pockets. And in those pockets, mosquitoes thrive. So I'm challenged by those mosquitoes constantly. This one's a cool one. So the other side of the property, there's a natural spring that has existed long before me. And in my arriving here, the space before us was a swamp. So obviously not dug out, but yeah, really difficult to walk through. And so that was very indicative of the fact that there's water underneath. And it's been quite the interesting scenario. I've learned a lot in this process. Largely and mainly that I'm really hoping that this pool would always stay full. It looks like this now, which it works out really well because it gives me another opportunity, or more of an opportunity, to continue digging out this pond. But yeah, come a few months, this thing is filled to the brim. But the depth has been amazing. So we got to work on this a bit more today, and every morning we're doing some work here. In fact, right there is a really amazing clay deposit that I'm really excited about because it was necessary for this kitchen vortex oven that's in creation. But I'm just really stoked about this pond because every year, if it does happen if it does come down to this level, then we will just continue to dig out until we find that vein, which is fun. And a big part of this, like, you know, if I had some friends come over, like, Nima, why did you dig a pond out when you have another pond just over there? Well, two things. I drink from that pond. And the other thing is this land, because of erosion, also due to the fact that the cows exist here, the erosion can play a big role in just the formation of the land. So before, this was the depth of the land right here, right? So, I mean, I'm taking a pretty decent step down. I'd say it's about, it's all right, babies. I'd say it's about 1 meter of drop. And all of this new earth that's come in combination with these porous volcanic stones is for a retaining wall. So if you're going to build a retaining wall, you need earth and material to support in that backfill. So as we dig out every year, that backfill is becoming a large part of this, and this will slowly, steadily level out the space, meaning that when the rain comes and it creeps in from that valley, that as it comes into the lower part of the property, it has a level ground to capture itself. And when it's captured, it means we can, well, retain more topsoil. So a lot of water management, earth management, and then also just enjoying the splendors of having a really cool pond. You can't tell right now, especially because the two mother plants had not made it since the water dried out so much. But inside there is some beautiful white lotus that will sprout, including their seeds, as soon as the rains pick back up. It's amazing. You just need 1 or 2 of them to survive, and yeah, you'll have many more, and they'll just continue to propagate. But this is more of the space. So really prioritizing some parts of the land over others, and also letting things just take their course. Being that I'm not here often, and that, not often, but that I'm not here consistently, and that planting trees, it takes time. You know, it was really humbling in my first year of being here. One of my workers, they're his father and the steward of this space. He tells me, he's like Nima really likes planting trees, but he doesn't like taking care of the trees. And it was a gut punch, but it was something I needed to hear at the time, because yeah, in the jungle and in the sporadic planting nature, you know, these are the things we do to learn. But in that era, it was true. The jungle, this happens in no time. This happened in the dry season. Like if I let this go, this is ground cover now, but if we let this go into the wet season, then we're gonna have a serious problem. So yeah, it's incredibly humbling, because you can create as much shade as you want, but the jungle will take its course. Since we're still on this subject, I would love to be able to talk about this. This is a fun one. So I've loved domes for a very long time, but domes are very challenging to build. So this is a concept of a natural dome, something that I've been working on for 4 years. So not a lot of these trees have made it. Some of them have been lost in between, but basically 4 years ago, we took a stake, put it right about here in the middle of this space, and took a 5-meter rope, walked in a circle, and planted this native hardwood tree from seed. So what's happening here is that you can see that some of them didn't make it. Some of them, the wind took out the top, or it became so jaggedy. And this tree is so amazing and resilient in that, you know, it lost its top, but we'll come through. I just need a machete and kind of pick a primary branch and let it grow. And this season it will reach the heights of its neighbors, because its roots are so established. What this is doing, and it took a bit of training, but this is gradually coming in on its own and forming more baby cacao and forming a dome. So this is part of the temple of the land, and yeah, another exciting project. Certainly lots of potential, and for what you know, a few, like maybe an hour a year in maintenance, and then that initial planting. Yeah, I think this slowly starts to conclude this farm tour today. In fact, this is only 1 acre. It's my main acre, the part of the land that I've been focusing a lot more energy on, as well, it takes a lot to plant out several acres, and I have a lot of time. You know, this is my demonstration piece, my experiment, my home, and it's a really kind of comforting process. Just witnessing everything grow, hopefully being here more for its cycles, enjoying the process of building, you know, speaking from my experiences and sharing knowledge of what is possible. It's a lot of the reasons why we do it. No one's claiming to be an expert. You know, first thing I'll tell you is probably all the mistakes I made, and hopefully I can help you not make those mistakes. And of course, these projects come with their challenges. You know, we have to remember why we're doing this, because in these early phases, not everything here is feeding. Not everything here is self-sufficient. Like, it still needs maintenance, it still needs babying. I mean, I'm walking past 300 meters of electrical tubing that's encased in this black, like, irrigation tubing, plus a 1/2-inch pipe that's running water from the springs, because this time of year I don't get water from the city, so I drink fresh spring water that comes with, you know, fish poop and occasionally alligator poop. Like, I didn't mention it, but that spring down below, for the most part I'm swimming with alligators, and that's fine, they're not threatening, except for that time they killed a duck. That was pretty heartbreaking. What's great is, you know, I think that the time investment is huge. So as I've gone through this process, I'll tell you, I would be a lot more stoked about buying a piece of land that comes with mature fruit trees than buying a barren piece of land. You know, like, I'm really grateful. This place came with a bunch of avocados. So right behind me, there's a row. There's about 20 avocados in this property already, and they're all fruiting. In fact, I gotta go walking around with a stick You know, the avocado gets so tall, and they really just, it takes a monkey, or you got to designate space for a worker to come and just go up there and chop down some avocados and bring them. Yeah, grafted avocados are really great for that reason. But regardless, my point in all this is that we're in this for the time, for the time's sake. Like, if I do this work now, my children just get to delight in it. My partner, be it I meet her soon, she will get to see and eat the fruits of all this labor. So, we've all heard that quote, whatever, plant the tree now, don't wait 20 years, but it's really true. And these processes, they can be, I don't know, they can just be a lot that goes on, and we get overwhelmed. So having help is huge. Or, if there are farmers out there, if there are people who are planting food forests, encourage them, because maybe they're doing the labor that you can go back and eat from. I wonder if this is all just rambling now. I mean, what else is YouTube for? If I told you everything, you wouldn't need to subscribe and stick around. Hey, but since you stuck around, I'm pretty excited about this one. Check it out. It's gonna get its own video, but this is ferro cement. By the way, this is my compost toilet. And then as me and the guys were building this, they started asking me, Nima, I think it's about 12 by 12 feet, so 3.5 meters. I don't know how much that is in feet. They're like, Nima, why is this why wouldn't this be a cabin? Like, why are you making a compost toilet that looks like this good? I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right. And so maybe in a year, it'd be funny, because how do you tell a guest? Do you tell them? Would you tell your guests? Yeah, by the way, this the platform that's holding your bed is actually backfilled with rocks and concrete, so you wouldn't smell the poop. Might have to give it a year or two to actually just continue decomposing before I poured that concrete in. Yeah, life's a journey, and being a part of nature is, well, it's who we are, and I freaking love it. Nature provides. I'm pretty damn grateful for that. So I trust that she'll provide for you and your families. Just give her recognition. We are nature playing the game of being aware of itself. And that awareness is magical. It's holy. As we depart, enjoy that sunset. And enjoy your own sunsets. I love you, people. Thank you for sticking around. Talk soon.